Okay, here we go. Hi, I'm Mark Hummel, and this is Jeff Vargan, and we are doing a reaction show for Mark Hummel's Harmonica Blowout. And we'd like you to subscribe and comment on this. If you want to preserve the blues and the history of the blues, please consider joining us at Patreon.
And this is a live thing we're doing, live to tape. So we're not doing a harmonica blowout. We're doing the harmonica party.
Oh, did I say harmonica blowout?
This is the clip we're going to do is Charlie Musselwhite at the harmonica blowout.
Well, let's redo
But
this.
no, we're doing them. We're good. We're good. Here we go.
Well, you know what? I've got a phone call right now.
I think it's Charlie saying, "Don't screw me up."
All
right.
Watch what you say.
Well, okay, that's a good. We're going to get into the Charlie impersonations. And now let's get into it. Charlie Musselwhite at the Mark Hummel Harmonica Blowout.
Well, I feel a little slow blues coming on. Gotta have a little slow blues. Gotta have it. Just a feeling I had on my mind. Just a feeling I had on my mind. Lay down dreaming, woke up this morning screaming and crying. Just a dream I dreamed all last night. Dreamed all last night. I do everything to try to please you. Still I can't get it right. What kind of woman is this? day long. Mm-mm. Just another pain, pain I feel all day long. Well, I'm just a country boy, mama. Honey, I never meant you no harm. No, I didn't mean you no harm, baby. Light nights are falling, pains are coming down, down again. Oh, baby. These light nights are falling, the pains are coming down, down again. Well, the way you torture me, baby, honey, you know I can't win. No, I can't win with you.
So that was at your show. Do you remember where?
Yeah, that was at the Anthology in San Diego.
Oh, okay.
And that was a Little Walter tribute. That was actually the recording that went on the album, Remembering Little Walter on Blind Pig. And
You were nominated for a Grammy for that.
yeah, we're nominated for a Grammy and it won 2 Blues Awards. And yeah, Charlie was part of it. Billy Boy Arnold was actually right next to me when we were listening, when we were watching that performance. And James Harmon, Sugar Ray, Norsha, Little Charlie was on the guitar, Nathan James was on guitar, June Core on drums from Charlie's band, and R.W. Grigsby on bass.
June, who was a previous guest.
Right.
A couple
Right.
times we had
Right.
him on there. So I'm going to ask you a technical question because it's what makes Charlie Musselwhite good? Why do we care that Charlie Musselwhite is playing the harmonica?
You know, I mean, a lot of it, you know, part of it is historical reference in the sense that, I mean, if you watch Charlie's interviews, we have a second one coming out any day. And if you watch his interviews, you realize what a trailblazer he was in blues for of the generation before mine, which is guys, you know, the guys that were in that are now in their late 70s. Charlie, Elvin Bishop, Paul Butterfield, who's gone, Mike Bloomfield, who's gone, but and then Billy Boy Arnold, who was a generation before him. So you know, but these guys were really the first white guys in Chicago to really kind of get into the black blues scene and you know, influence a lot of the hippie, you know, ballroom circuit that kind of started in the late 60s. Guys like Butterfield was the first one to come out with Elvin Bishop and Mike Bloomfield, and then Charlie was right on the heels of that.
So when you say that Charlie and Mike Bloomfield and Butterfield, these were these white guys that are carrying on this African American tradition.
Yeah, well, they were kind of raised up by Muddy and Big Walter and Little Walter and Otis Spann and Otis Rush, all these guys were their influences, and they were the guys that kind of, in a lot of ways, those are the guys that kind of we got it through. I mean, my generation got it through.
Did they suffer any sort of backlash in the way Elvis did?
Sure.
Okay.
Of course, yeah.
So what was that like for them? What kind of backlash did they suffer?
Nobody likes backlash.
No, but I mean, Elvis took some serious heat for doing what he did.
I think what happened was that these guys came out to the San Francisco Bay Area and Los Angeles and New York and places like that, and they really kind of presented the blues to the younger audiences, at the time, in the late 60s, early 70s, they presented this music to those audiences. And as a result, people like Muddy and B.B. King and all these other artists were able to get a foothold in the rock, the rock and roll world at the time.
Because the Stones and Clapton were starting to do the same thing, bringing it to...
They were, but I mean, these guys were
more
American.
These were more traditional.
Well, they were American for one.
Right.
They weren't English. And... So, it was a very small group, when you consider it. Corky Siegel's another one that was there, Siegel Schwall Band. But the bottom line was that they were kind of the guys, the white guys that really brought the blues to the hippie ballroom circuit. And Butterfield was, he was a big deal. When he came out, and Musselwhite right behind him.
They were a big deal before they got here.
No, it was really when they got here.
When they got to the Bay Area.
It was when they got to the Bay Area.
And for those of you who don't know, we're in the Bay Area.
Yeah,
we are
we're in the
San
Bay
Francisco
Area.
Bay Area.
But the Fillmore scene and the Avalon scene, that's where they broke into. And I mean, the thing about Charlie, we're watching that, and the one thing, to me about Charlie is he's a very stylistically his own person. When I listen to him play, I can almost always tell that it's Charlie. And that was sort of the same thing with Butterfield. I could always tell that, when I'd hear those guys, that it was them. Charlie has a very distinctive sound, both singing and playing.
And
this is a Lil Walter tribute that we're doing, who was somebody he knew.
Oh, he knew Little Walter.
Yeah. Walter kind of shepherded him.
Okay.
Both Lil Walter and Big Walter kind of shepherded him when he was playing in the ghetto clubs. They would kind of look, especially Little Walter would look after him.
So can you hear that same kind of Little Walter phrasing, or is there influence, or how do you know it's Charlie versus Little Walter?
Well, Little Walter had a sound very much all his own. And I think guys like Butterfield and Musselwhite really kind of adopted his songbook. That was kind of more what they did. They took Little Walter's songbook. I mean, one of the reasons I gravitated to those guys immediately was because they were doing Little Walter songs. I was already a Little Walter nut. So, when I was a teenager and I'd hear anybody doing Little Walter songs, I was like, wow, I want to study this. I want to find out what this is.
And then you came along as the next generation.
Yeah.
How were you treated by these guys?
It took a while to get to know Charlie. I opened for Butterfield a couple times and had a couple different experiences. First time positive, second time he was on drugs and it wasn't very positive.
Right.
But with Charlie, it was kind of like, Charlie has a different viewpoint than a lot of the guys. And you kind of see that when he talks about in the interview that he didn't go into this to become a performer.
Right.
He kind of came into it more as a fan in a way. And I think that kind of comes through when you get to know Charlie, is that he's really kind of just he's a much more regular guy than a lot of guys back in the day.
But it seems to me that he does have strong ideas about what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Does that strong personality translate to his music?
Well, I think Charlie's an interesting one, and we talk about this in the next episode. He was a drinker. He was a hardcore drinker when I met him. And Butterfield had a serious, alcohol and drug problem. But Charlie was somebody, I never thought Charlie would outlast Butterfield, to be honest with you. I never, if you would have asked me back then who was going to make it, I would never have told you Charlie was going to outlast him. But he gave it up, and here he is, and he's had an incredible career.
And
Continuing to have an incredible
yeah.
career. He's really at the top of the heap right now in the harmonica,
Right.
blues harmonica world.
Well, doing the thing with Ben Harper, so
Yeah.
it brought a whole new
And
audience.
we talk about that in
Yeah.
the next one is playing with Cyndi Lauper and playing with Ben Harper. I mean, he's been doing this for a long time. He was on In Excess's record way back when. I think he's on the Soprano theme song. He's been doing sessions with people forever. So, a lot of this is not new. It's just, blues is a long, slow road.
Right.
Charlie's 78 now, and it's kind of like, he's over the last 20, 25, 30 years, he's really started to get some accolades.
Okay. Well, that's Charlie Musselwhite playing Little Walter, and we encourage you to jump on over and see the interviews we did with Charlie, which are just fantastic. Mark did them when he was out on the road with Charlie, and it's just a different environment than when you have somebody in a studio and you're talking to them, because those guys are living the road and telling the stories that they do. So please like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, here we go.